Hey, good morning. Today is March 7th, 2016. Would have been my dad's 75th birthday today. And I miss him every day. He's been gone a little over 10 years now. And in that 10 years, I've taken a lot of time to inventory what it is of James L Suddith that I have in me. And the list is long. I'm a lot like my father. Save this pathetic beard I have right now. My dad would have never ever had a beard, but he and I have a lot in common, and a lot of great things about him I inherited. The biggest one of those things is the ability to tell a story, and I've never studied it in depth or been to workshops, but I'm a storyteller, and it's probably my favorite title of all titles after husband and father. But the ability to tell a story is definitely one of my father's. His brothers also could tell a story, and I can only imagine what their father would have been like telling a story. Well, my dad was never short for a story, to the point where poor people, no matter where he was, truck stop in Des Moines, loading dock in Chicago, sitting on the side of a road in a rest area in California, my dad had a story for anybody that had a minute or 5 minutes to spare. So today I wanted to tell a story about one of those times. In college, when I needed cash or was in a bind, I could call my dad. My dad, as a truck driver, wasn't reachable, so I would call his dispatcher. And his dispatcher would send a message through the in-cab communications to my dad, and my dad, next time he stopped, would give me a call. And I would ask him for money, usually, or some help or directions. But if it was money, he would call me back in a couple hours with a set of numbers. I would take those 10 or 12 digit numbers to a truck stop, and I could cash a check at the truck stop, and it was like an advance against my dad's pay in this system of wired money through truck stops. So during one of those occasions, when I was a sophomore, junior in college, that my dad, during the phone conversation, asked me, "Hey, do you know so-and-so, Chris, somebody from the fraternity Sigma Alpha something or other?" I said, "I know a guy, Chris, who's in that fraternity like that." He says, "Well, I met his dad." I said, "That guy's from like Hopkinsville, Kentucky. How did you meet his dad? Like, were you in West Kentucky?" He says, "No, I was at a truck stop in Richmond, Virginia." I said, how in the world would a truck driver in Richmond, Virginia figure out a guy was the father of a guy at my school, my same age?" He said, "Well, I was at the driver's table, and if you know anything about truck stops, every truck stop has a driver's table. It's usually a big round table in the corner reserved for truck drivers, so the people like vacationing families don't get in the way of truck drivers, and service is a little faster, a little different. Coffee seems to get there quicker." I was down at the trucker's table, and I was telling somebody about you at Murray and how your brother just got out of high school and was building houses. And anyways, the guy at the next table over heard me talk about Murray State. He stopped by and said he had a son at Murray State, and I was talking about you. He's telling me about a son. We figured out you're both about the same age. You're both were sophomores, and you both were in fraternities at Murray State. I think it's when I first realized how proud our dad was of us, no matter what we did. Whether my brother, who just barely got out of high school and went to work swinging a hammer and building things and creating, or me, who went to college and to get a college degree. My dad talked about us no matter where he was. The driver's table in Richmond, Virginia, the truck stops of America, wasn't off limits, and neither was the loading dock or the rest area or the fast food line somewhere along the highway. My dad used stories to communicate what he was most proud of, what he knew about, and he knew a little bit about everything, but he was never short for a story. He never met a stranger. Now, he's argued with many strangers and fought with many strangers and debated, but he always walked away learning something or sharing a point or sharing a story that usually included me or my brother or our mom. So I wanted to share that with you today. My love of storytelling is from my dad, and today would have been his 75th birthday. So happy birthday to James L Suddith, my dad, and a debater and a storyteller from coast to coast. Thanks for your time today, and look for another video story next week sometime. And just keep checking back to this YouTube channel or on Facebook at /Brian Suddith. Thanks, guys. Bye.